Okay, so I don't even know where to start with this one. A lot of stuff has happened since I uploaded last, so I guess I'll just start where I left off last time. So yeah, I moved out. I moved out of my university apartment that I was living in, just as basic. I mean, it was basically just one room, and I'm back home now, back living in my hometown with my mum, and I knew I wasn't gonna like it, but it's been so much worse than I thought, to be honest. And like, you guys, it's so bad. Like, it's so bad. Moving out itself, I mean, the trouble started there. I mean, my mum came up, and we were trying to move all this shit out to my car. Not my car, sorry, my mum's car. Sorry, I'm tired as fuck when I'm making this video, but anyway, whatever. Gotta get this out today. But yeah, we moved this stuff out, and there was too much. It couldn't all fit in the car. For some reason, when I moved out, my mum, like, we had this like van, so there was loads of space for all this stuff. But then for some reason, we didn't get a van on the way home, so I had to leave like a bunch of stuff behind. And I didn't leave anything important, but it was just kind of annoying. One of the things I had to leave were these like plastic drawers that I bought, and they're just little plastic drawers used for storage, but they didn't fit in the car, all of them. And before I left them behind, I was trying to fit this one in, and they're really cheap. I don't know how much I don't remember, but they're real cheap, shitty things. And like, as I was trying to force it into the car, the top of it like snapped off and hit me in the face. And my mum, who was just like standing next to the car, not doing anything, with like her thumb up her ass, was basically like, "Oh well, that went well," all sarcastically. And I got like hit in the nose by this piece of plastic, and it's just like, yeah, thanks a lot. It's real helpful. And the whole time she was just like, "Oh, this isn't gonna work. We're not gonna fit everything. It's not, and all this shit." And it's like, I know, I knew that, but there's nothing worse than when you're trying to do something than someone in your ear not helping, but being like, "Oh, it's pointless. It's not gonna work," and that's. I mean, it was really annoying. I mean, I'm gonna say this now because this is gonna be basically this whole video me just like bitching about my mum. But like, I want to say, like, I do love my mum, and I don't want like people to take this the wrong way, but we just clash. I don't know if it's because she's getting older. I see the relationship between my mum and my nan, my mum's mum, and they don't get along. Like, they don't get me wrong. I'm sure they like love each other or whatever. But my mum, like, I know she gets annoyed by her. And I don't know if that just comes with age. Maybe it's because I'm getting older as well. And I mean, I moved out. I had that taste of independence. And let me just say, moving out was like the best thing that's ever happened to me. And I don't want to say I took it for granted. I was very happy with it. I knew that I wasn't going to like, being here again. But I did get used to it. I got complacent. And now I'm kind of shoved back into this situation. But anyway, we're here. The one thing I will say is I had no idea how I made videos on a regular basis before I moved out, because I got so used to just being able to make a video whenever I was in the mood. And like, if I didn't like an audio, I didn't like how it came out, I could re-record it. There's no pressure. I could get stuff done any time of the week. And now it's like I gotta wait for my mum to go out, realistically, because I don't want to make these videos when she's in the house. And yeah, that was pretty annoying. And in the end, we had to leave a bunch of stuff behind at my old place. But I got back with most of the stuff. And one thing I realized when I got home is my room, which is probably even smaller than the old apartment I used to live in. It was literally just one room with a little toilet en suite. Now I don't even have the toilet en suite. It's just like a bedroom, and it's real small, which is fine. But what I realized is, like, I have way too much stuff, and I have loads of old stuff that I never got rid of. I think it's like a family trait that certainly me, maybe my mum, well, certainly me and my mum and maybe other people are like hoarders, and they hold on to shit that they don't need, or we do, I should say. And I had loads of old books and like just old clothes that haven't fit me for years and stuff just lying around for some reason, and everything was just a mess. And that was like a week ago that I got home. And over the past week, I've been like going through, like, I guess you could call it like spring cleaning. I don't know if you'd call it that, but just like getting rid of a lot of stuff, sending it to like charity shops and stuff, or throwing it away or whatever. It doesn't, things that I wasn't using. And I've made a lot of good space. I mean, I've still got progress to go. I've still got stuff to do, but it's looking much better. Another thing that's been really annoying is that in the last week that it's been so hot. There's been like a heat wave. It's been like 25 degrees outside Celsius, which I know doesn't seem like a lot to some people, but in the UK that is a lot, especially since we don't have like AC or anything. Like, it's just not, the house just isn't built for that, so that's been annoying. And I've been walking around shirtless, and my mum's been complaining about that as well. She's like, "Oh, you stink and stuff because I'm sweating and stuff," and it's like, what do you want from me? you know, and all this stuff. It's hard. I just want to walk around, you know. And I'm sitting on my chair. It's like a plastic thing, and then like my back like gets stuck to the chair, and I have to like peel my skin off. It's that hot, dude. It's so hot. Especially when you remember like houses in the UK are built to keep heat in, but well, you know, whatever. But on the bright side, and when my mum was up at my you know, university town with me, this is something we did. But I basically have like a new apartment like booked, ready to go for next year, and even the year after that, like it's a permanent lease or whatever, and it's basically the same as the place I was staying before, like the same size, but it's actually a bit cheaper, which is good, and like I won't have to come home for the holidays again, which is good, and I can just stay there all the time, and that's like accommodation sorted out for the next 2 years. Because I remember actually when I was still like going out drinking and stuff with my old roommates, like Chang, he talked to me about like getting a house, because this is something uni students sometimes do, is they're like, a couple of them will get together to like rent a house, and he was like, oh, we could do that and maybe find some other people. But then, and that was in like October of last year, that was like Halloween, which is like just basically like just after the university or the, you know, school year starts, and he told me that everywhere he could find was like fully booked for that, and it's like, that's crazy that it gets snatched up so quickly. And granted, it's a, you know, it's a small town, but I don't know, I was like thinking, like, I was pretty relieved to find a place, I guess is my point, and I won't have to come home on the holidays. And after some of the stuff that's gone down already, within like less than a week of being home, like, I'm very happy that I won't have to be coming home for the holidays. Let me talk about that actually. So one of the things that happened was some family and family friends came to like visit the house and came to visit my mum, not because I was here, but they just happened to be over. And they ordered like takeaway or takeout, I guess if you're American, I don't really know. They ordered this stuff, and it was like a kebab from like this local kebab place, and you could get it either with chips, which are fries, like in America they call them fries, we call them chips, whatever. You can either get it with chips or rice, right? So you get like the kebab meat, a side salad, and either chips or rice. And I've been trying to be healthy. That's another thing. I'll talk about this in another video, but I'm probably going to go back to the gym. I mean, I'm not fat, but I've noticed I'm really unfit. Like I get out of breath easily and stuff, so I'm trying to get like healthier. So I thought, you know, I'll just get the rice because it's probably a bit healthier. So I say, you know, my mum was like, what do you want? I was like, oh, I'll have the rice, whatever. And it shows up, and it's not rice, it's chips in mine. And I'm the kind of person, if you guys have watched me for even a little bit, you probably know the kind of person I am. I'm very non-confrontational, like to a fault, like extremely. And I've never ever sent food back or anything like that in a restaurant, or, you know, let alone like with my mum. So I don't say anything, I just start eating. But then we're at the table, and my mum starts like talking to me about the food, and she almost starts like chewing me out almost in front. I wouldn't go that far, but she does start to kind of talk to me, and she's like, oh, you know, the rice is so much healthier than the chips, you know, but it's fine. And I'm just like, I didn't ask for chips, I asked for rice, you know. I said it's fine, but I didn't ask for this shit. And she starts going, no you didn't, you asked for chips. And it's like, okay, maybe I said it wrong, or maybe I just you misheard me. Probably just misheard me. I'm pretty sure I said rice, but whatever. I mean, chips and rice kind of sound similar, I guess. But I was pretty sure I said rice, and I was like, no, I think I said rice. And she was like, oh no, you said chips. And we went back and forth a few times. And then this guy on the other side of the table like shouted at me, like in front of everyone, shouted at me like, well, you've got chips now, so just shut up and eat them and shit. And it's like, dude, fuck you. And to rub salt in the wound, this wasn't even like a guy I knew, like, not that it's okay, but like, I didn't even know this guy, like, you're not even remotely close enough to me to be able to talk like that. And just embarrassed me in front of everyone. It reminded me of Father's Day last year, actually, when I was at the table. Some people might remember this. And I started talking about monkeys, and how, like, if you give a monkey a typewriter or whatever, it'll write Shakespeare. And then my mum was like, oh, shut up, no one wants to hear it and stuff. And it's like, you know, people wonder why I don't talk. And I'm talking about my family now. People in my family wonder why I don't talk at dinner and stuff. I remember once when I was much younger, like maybe when I was like 12 or 13, I was at the dinner table with some other people in my family, not with my mum, but like my grandparents were there, and my cousin was there, who is like now is a teacher and is like working in like mental health. It's so like made up and retarded. And she was, at the time, she was doing this course, and she was talking about like suicidality, or people who want to commit suicide. And she was like, oh, it's really bad how, just virtue signaling to everyone, but she was like, oh, it's really bad how it's called attempted suicide, because it makes people think, oh, I can't even do that right. And I made the point, I was just trying to contribute to the conversation, you know, like a normal fucking person wants to do. And I said, oh, you know, maybe they should call them suicide survivors instead then, because that would be. And I said it like two or three separate times. I said that every single time. I wasn't interrupting everyone, and every single time, completely ignored, completely like. No one even looked at me. It's like I was a ghost, you know, like I wasn't even in the room. And that's like my life or my childhood, especially like trying to connect with a lot of people in my family is like, it just summed up, you know, like you try and fucking talk to these people, you try and make a connection and it goes nowhere. You know, these people, they're not listening, you know. But people interrupt me all the time. Like I'd be at dinner and I remember this one time I was talking to my mum and I just got completely like derailed in this conversation, run off the road in terms of speaking by another person who completely interrupted me to start talking to my mum. So rude, you know. And if I did some shit like that, I'd be like chewed out, and rightfully so, because it is rude. But it's just like it's one way for everyone else, one treatment for everyone else, and another for me. Complete double standard, you know. And then, yeah, like anyway, back to what I was saying. This shit happened at the table, and it was like a really spiteful thing. This guy, and I was like, fucking hell. And like I was almost gonna respond, but I just kind of kept my head down. But then, like, as soon as he said it, like, almost like before he could even, like, fin it, or before I could say anything, definitely, my mum, like, intervened really quickly, and she started doing this, like, super obvious, like, fake laugh, like, really obvious, like, ha 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 ha, you know, kind of thing, like, really, shut the fuck up, no one laughs like that, you know. And the thing is about my mum is, like, I know she's only doing that shit just to try and alleviate the tension. You know, that's the only reason she's doing that. She doesn't find it funny. She just doesn't want me to say anything to start a fight, because all she's concerned about is trying to keep the peace. You know, that's all it is. And she's done the same shit throughout, like, my whole life. Whenever someone in my family tries to do some shit to me, I never get to stand up for myself. It's like getting, like, it's like if a country got, like, bombed by, like, an enemy and they weren't allowed to, like, respond or anything. It's just ridiculous, you know. I can't do anything. I can't stand up and defend myself, you know. And whenever I do, I get in trouble, and my mum gets upset, and everyone's like, oh, look what you did to your mum and shit, you know. And that's the thing with the women, especially. And, like, we all know it's true. As soon as they turn on the waterworks, it's over. It's wraps for you, you know. If a woman starts crying, it doesn't matter what the context is or what the details are. You're the bad guy and she's the victim. It doesn't matter, you know. And I feel like a lot of people know that's true. And my mum doesn't really cry a lot, but other women in my family do. And they always, like, weaponize it against me, but, you know, whatever. At this point, I figure, like, fighting these people isn't really a good idea. I think just avoiding them and keeping my head down is probably the better way to go. But anyway, that was one incident. And there was another incident. This shit happened just this morning, actually. I was up all night because my sleep schedule was kind of fucked. The reason for that is I'm kind of hoping to get, like, a night shift job, which now is looking like it's probably not even going to happen. But that's what I was hoping to happen. But anyway, I'll talk about that in a second. But basically, I'm awake all night. And I was just playing games with this guy, and I thought I was being pretty quiet, just a friend of mine, and, you know, I'd talk and laugh occasionally, but I thought I was being pretty considerate. I was thinking, yeah, I don't want to make too much noise. My mum always complains about me making too much noise, but I don't think I'm that loud. And I always say that, and then she's like, oh, it's not that you're loud, but it's just, you know, if I know you're up, I can't go to sleep and shit. And it's like, well, that's not my problem. And it's like, you know, and that's a perfect example of a double standard as well, is that when I was in university, all the time I'd get woken up by people making loud noises, people walking past my room, you know, couples laughing and all this kind of shit. And what sympathy was there for me? None. You know, I just had to stick in headphones and I had to fucking deal with it. But then it happens to my mom, and she burst down my door this morning. She was like, well, I've got to go to work this morning, as if she's not, like, retiring in 3 weeks. And she's like, and as if she doesn't do anything anyway, she just sits on her ass not doing anything. And because she's a teacher, but she doesn't teach classes anymore. I don't know what she does. But she burst down my door and she's like, oh, I've got to go to work now, and thanks for keeping me up half the night. And it's like, fuck you, I don't give a shit after all the shit that's happened to me from you, you know. Like, some shit, like, I remember I got, like, hit in the face once as well by someone in my family. I'm not going to go into detail, but, and it was a woman as well, and you tell that to people, and people think it's, like, funny or whatever, like, oh, you got hit by a woman, big deal. And it's not about the pain, but it's like, or the damage, but it's just like, you know, I told my mum about it, and she was like, oh, well, you know, make sure you don't tell anyone, and it's because because the woman who hit me, she was like, oh, it's because she was giving up smoking at the time, that's why, you probably did something to annoy her, and all this shit. It's like, fuck you, you know. If your son comes to you and tells you he got hit in the face by, like, a relative, and your immediate response isn't like, oh, fuck that person, then you're a piece of shit, you know. And that, I know I said I like my mum, but I'm not selling her out, am I? But the thing is, like, I felt really bad when my mum came down my door, because I know people are going to be saying, oh, you kept your mum all night, you're an asshole. But the thing is, like, I did feel bad, and I wish I didn't. You know, I wish I didn't feel guilty. I wish I had, like, the dark triad, like, psychopathy thing, because then I could just, like, exploit shit without sounding, like, edgy. Like, because, I don't know, because fuck, I don't even know what to say, dude. Like, I hope people understand what I mean. People aren't gonna like this. This video is already gonna get like dislikes and shit. But oh well, whatever. Um, I don't know. And it's just like I remember when I was a kid, like a really little kid as well. I was in this room trying to sleep, and these people started like fucking next to me in the bed. I already told that story on my channel. You know, I was in this bedroom at my grandma's house for a family gathering, and a lot of people were sleeping over, a lot of relatives and stuff. And I was sleeping in this room with on like a pull-out like bed, like there was like a couch, and there were two other beds. And this like couple, I didn't even know them that well, were sleeping in the beds. And in the middle of the night, I was trying to sleep, and they started like having sex near me, and I could hear them like talking about it and the sounds and the shit, and it made me like feel really sick. What consideration was shown to me then as a little ass kid? And these people were fucking. You know, literally having sex next to me and talking about like, oh my dick fell out your pussy, oh I'm gonna come and shit, and it's like what the fuck, and I'm like 9, 10 years old or some shit. But I'm, you know, me playing video games is a crime and stuff, and it's like, whatever, dude. You know, I don't feel bad about it. Fuck, I don't know. Maybe I do on a subconscious level, but I shouldn't. Yeah, I want to get out of the house. I went for a walk today just now, and I actually felt worse after I went for a walk. Because that's one of the things people say, like, oh, go outside, go for a walk and stuff. But like, I always feel worse, whether I listen to music or it's just, you know, the thoughts in my head. I always feel worse when I come back from a walk. But as I was coming back, I was standing at these traffic lights, and some people might not remember this, but when I was down staying with my family or with my mum recently, like a few months ago, I was standing at these same traffic lights, and there was a red light, like I couldn't cross, and the cars couldn't go either. But this one car pulled up, and it like ushered me across. And this particular traffic light is next to like a railway bridge or like a motorway bridge, or that's a highway. We call that a motorway in the UK. And this car like ushered me to go, but I couldn't see what was on the other side of the bridge. I didn't want to go in case there were cars coming, so I just stood there. And as that car went by, when the light turned green, it like the people in there like all like leaned out. There were like 4 guys, and they like flipped me off and stuff. It's like, why the fuck would you do that? I didn't do anything, you know. And that shit, like I was standing at that traffic light on my way home from this walk today, and it just like I remembered, and it pissed me off so much. Thinking about how like I know it's so, like everyone knows it, it's so obvious, but how unfair life is, and how people just will treat you like shit for nothing. For less than nothing actually, and it's just like, and you know, life will walk all over you if you let it, I think, is what I'm saying. Yeah, anyway, I don't know, and I had summer plans as well, like I'm hopefully, I don't know, I didn't want to talk about this, but I might be going to like America in August for a long time, and like I said, I wanted to do like some job searching. I saw like this alright place to apply to, but I don't know, maybe I came home too late, because it seems like everyone's already got a job and stuff, and if I worked, I'd only have a job for like a month if I went to America, and even then I'd only have it for like maximum 2 months, and it's like, who's going to hire someone, you know? But what I wanted is like night shift or warehouse, like stocking stuff, and I don't know. What I did before I moved out at the beginning of 2023 was I just worked on like odd jobs through my like family, like people who my mum knew. I'd like paint houses and do wiring and stuff with this guy, and that was honestly probably the best job I've ever had. I mean, I've only had like 2 jobs, but I don't know, it is what it is. It's hard to find those kind of things anyway. Yeah, anyway, I don't know if that ship sailed though. My relationship with my mum is kind of tense right now. We just we just don't get along. That's the thing. We can't be cooped up together, especially since I moved out. I've gotten so used to just being by myself. It doesn't work, you know. Like, we definitely love each other, but it just doesn't, you know, it's just close proximity. I need my own space, dude. I really do. I can't wait to move out again. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, anyway, that's pretty much it.